want to take this time to thank everybody for their support of myself, Mark, and the music and mental health movement. Please take this time to like, comment, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to get notified of when I drop some more great content. Thank you.
What's up, y'all? How y'all doing? I hope everyone's doing good. I have had a hell of a last couple of days. They have not been good, but I'm doing slightly better today. I like this channel. I know I have not been using it much during the Big Brother season, as I had predicted that I would not have too much time to do as I'm building up my reality TV specific channel. But I'm not abandoning this channel because it is important. I know that mental health is not the best or most attractive topic in the world, and it doesn't draw people like a TV show or the entertainment world, but it's been very important to me. And there were times for me when the stuff that was going on these shows didn't even matter to me because I was just struggling for my mental health. And I'm actually kind of glad for those moments because it's because of what I learned during those down moments of my life that have brought me here and been able to help me cope to an extent. So I wanted to speak about some of the things that the loss of my dad has taught me, because this has been a time of a lot of reflection. Some of that reflection is about him, some of the reflection is about our relationship, my upbringing, but then just things about life in general. One main thing that it taught me, which is really obvious, is that nothing in this life is final. I mean, nothing in this life is forever. I'm sorry. Nothing in this life is forever. So, you know this in concept. We all know this in concept from the time we're little. They teach us that everything has a beginning and an end. We finish school, some of us, some of us keep going to school forever. That's not me. I'm not that person. We might start writing a book or reading a book. There's a beginning to that and there's an end to that. We might start on a project. You start the project, you begin the project, you end the project. You listen to a song, there's a beginning and an end. You set a fitness goal, there's a beginning and end. Life has a beginning and end. And again, we all know that, but it hits you differently. So it shakes on this core. So now just think of that in everything that I'm doing. Everything that I'm doing, I actually kind of say to myself now, what is the end goal of this? What is the purpose of this? Into things. Jobs. I got this internship at my mom's hospital that she worked at, and it was while I was in the middle of a college semester. It was in the summertime, actually, not the middle, but the year had just finished, and I was home for the summer. And they had a program at her hospital where people who were children of staff who worked at the hospital could apply and get a summer job there. So I got the summer job, and I recall sitting around with my coworkers who were also children of people that worked there. And we had a very easy job. It was a job where we worked in the medical records department. And this was the old school medical record department files instead of having everything on the computer. But what we were doing were actually transferring everything from the files to the computer because the computer filing system, I guess you could call it, was just starting that year. And I remember sitting with one of my coworkers, and she was like, "I hate this job." And I'm like, "Why is that?" And she said, "Well, because I don't feel like it's fulfilling enough." And I was thinking, fulfilling? This is the best money that I've ever gotten in my life thus far. Who cares about fulfilling? I responded to her, I would staple papers for 8 hours a day if it paid me a good amount of money, and I wouldn't care one bit about fulfillment. And she was just like, nah, I need something that's going to do something for my mind and stimulate me and is purposeful. And at that time, I was on some get money stuff, so I wasn't caring about that. Now things are very different for me. Money is not a big motivator for me, even though I push my channel, I push my brands, all that good stuff. That is not really because of like a strong desire for money, because this doesn't even pay me that much money. My YouTube checks have not been all that much and all that often. So it's more passion than money is what's bringing me in here. But now I think about the end before I think about the beginning. And I don't mean that in a sense of, well, I guess there's two sides of the coin of what I'm saying. I try not to think too much about the end instead of enjoying the now. Because when you think about the end, it can start to make you feel anxious, or it can start to make you feel depressed. So I try my best to stay in the present. However, I think about why I'm doing things, why I'm in certain places, in certain spaces, and with certain people. I think hard about that. And if I don't have a strong enough reason why, I don't do it, or I don't show up, or I don't go there. That's one thing that has changed. Another thing, when you go through something significant, there's this phrase that I always say, which is that you never find things out in lukewarm temperatures. And I'll tell you what I mean. One of them was always too hot and one of them was always too cold. And this one time it was hot in the office, in the room that we were all in, the three of us. And the coworker that's always cold. Hold on, let me start that again. We were all three in the office and it was hot. And one of the coworkers was like, the coworker that always thought it was hot was like, it's hot in this room. Like, we should open up the vent or open the window or whatever she said. And then she said, what do you think, Mark? And I was like, yeah, it's a little bit hot. But I was the person who was like, it doesn't really matter if it's too hot or if it's too cold. If it's cold, I'll just put on an extra layer. And if it's hot, I'll just take off a layer. Like, it's not a huge deal to me. And then when the other coworker left, who closed the window, left the room, the one who asked me if it was too hot was like, Mark, this reminds me of the frog story. The frog would sit in the pot while somebody turns up the temperature in the pot, and they would just sit in the pot. And I didn't understand what she was saying by that story. What she meant was I was willing to sit in the environment. The story was actually like a frog sitting in a pot, and you turn up the temperature a little bit and a little bit and a little bit at a time so that the frog will not hop out. And then the frog eventually gets cooked and it dies, right? So if you turned the temperature to a boil, the frog would hop out before it gets to that point. So how I'm relating that to this, is that when medium temperature things happen to you and you have medium temperature needs, your car breaks down, you get a flat tire or something, you have like the person you just started seeing, you had an argument with them, you're not getting along with your folks, you know, your kids are doing bad in school. Not, it's all relative. The things that I'm listing are all relative because it could be a bigger thing depending on the person and the situation. However, the point that I'm making is they're all lesser things than death. Death is the hot temperature thing. So when my dad passed, I expected a lot of people to be there for me. The people that I've been there for, and we've been through things, and I felt like we've been through the trenches together. I'm like, for sure, all of those people are going to be there supporting me and calling me, dropping by, you know, all the things that you would think that somebody would do when you're facing something that's significant. Apologies for that. My apologies for that. I just hopped off. I mean, I just got a call in the middle of my thing. But yeah, what I was saying is that people that I expected to be there in this hot temperature time or this extreme temperature time, because it could be a hot temperature or a cold temperature, a lot of them were not there. And it was very hurtful when it happened. I said, wow, I would be there for each and every one of these people in a significant way. And for some of them, I had been there in a significant way in very tough times, and they were not there. So it taught me not everybody around you is there for you. Some people are there as placeholders, and you won't know that until you encounter something where you need people, because all of us need people. I'm a person who is very super independent. never asked anybody for anything. Even people that I could ask for things that I know could benefit me, sometimes I hesitate to do that because I don't like to depend on anybody because I've had people let me down in the past before. So I said this on other platforms. Knowing who your people are, your core people who will be there with you through the trenches, is everything. The other thing I learned, being open, being more open to people who might join you along the path. Because I am for sure a no new friends person, especially in the last 10 years, because I've been through so much in the last 10 years. And I've always been on no new friends. I just need my old original people. I don't need anybody new. There's people that I have met along the path that I would have never expected to be there for me in the ways that they have been there for me. Some of them are even some of these reality TV people that I've connected with. Ayana, John Brennan, like a couple others that I'm not going to name them, but there's a few others that have been reaching out to me for it during my grieving process and even before, when my dad was still here, just knowing that he was sick. And they've reached out to me, prayed for me, given me advice. There's other people that were, I would say, more of acquaintances or maybe friendly acquaintances that their role expanded during this time. And not because I asked them, just because they were in my orbit and they were just people who maybe have experienced this before. And I don't know, for whatever reason, they were put in my path to help me through. And just now having this process of weeding out all the excess people that didn't need to be there. I saw it as a bad thing, but I see it as a good thing now. And it's not that those people had no use in my life at any time, but their use and time in my life is over. And now it's time to start growing with people who want to grow with me and people who are really there for me solidly. One thing I learned is specifically from my dad. I've said this before, but my dad was one of the most persistent people that I know, and his self-belief was something that carried him throughout his whole life. And I'm somebody whose self-belief goes up and down. And they always say that somebody was considered a nobody once until they believed in themselves. And one or two other things, because I actually do have to call this person back, but I was going to make this a little longer, but I can always come back on this page and make different posts, and I plan to do that. I think about each and everything that happens to me in a day. And I say, would this thing matter if I knew that I was not going to be here tomorrow? And that goes for things that happen at work. That goes for things that happen at home. This goes to things that happen between friends. I'm like, how much does this matter on a scale of 1 to I won't be here tomorrow? And when I think of it that way, it makes me a lot calmer and it makes me a lot more willing to let things go. Another thing is I think about who I invest my time into a lot. Who do I want to invest my time into? Do I want to invest my time into somebody who drains me, who drains my spirit, who always takes and never gives? It's like a take a penny, leave a penny thing, this thing that we call life. And if they're all taking all the pennies, it doesn't work. everything that you dedicate your time to takes some of that energy from you. And there's no way to avoid that. You know, we're all going to give our energy away to various things, but I think more carefully now about what those things are. And lastly, I just think about the importance of mental health. This is a mental health page, and we can forget our mental health when we get caught up too much and swept up in the motion of life. We're just continuously moving, working, handling responsibilities. But I've had the experience already 10 years ago where my mental health deteriorated so much to the point that I can't function. So now my mental health is number one above anything. If I wake up in the morning and I intended to go to work, and close your ears and cover your eyes if you're an employer listening to me. um, if I don't feel like I can work that day, and it doesn't have to be a physical sickness, I could just feel mentally I'm not in the space to work, I'm going to call out. That's a sick day for me. If people are inviting me somewhere and I don't feel like I'm in this mental space to be in that space around them or around doing that activity or whatever it is, I'll say no. You know, when people hit you with the, are you busy? Are you doing anything on this day and time? You don't have to be busy to say no. You can just say no. Anything that is a threat to my headspace, my mental health, I don't entertain it. I don't engage with it. And that's that. So thank you for listening. Appreciate everybody. Please make sure to like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell. I'll be on at some point tonight to talk about all the exciting stuff that's happening on Big Brother, on my other channel, Mindful Reality. And we will talk soon.